You know it's a Sunday.
Yeah.
If I'm headed out to run errands.
Yeah.
And Don's fixing to watch a Jack video.
Yep.
I have to say that today's title, Secret Utility Company War Against Rooftop Solar Heats Up, is rather intriguing.
Yes.
So I'm going to be asking you for a summary when I get back home. Be prepared.
I'll condense it for you.
Yes. How long's Jack's video today?
Hour and
47 minutes. Yeah.
A little short for him.
Exactly. It's under 2 hours, under an hour and 50. Yeah. I figured I'd let Don rest up.
Yeah.
Today because he drove 375 miles yesterday.
You know, it didn't seem like
Well,
that.
it was broke up from here to there. It wasn't like we were trying to make time, life or death to get from point A to point B yesterday. We were meandering.
Right. Well, but also
we had a plan, but not an airtight plan.
Right. But also we, we left here at like 9:30.
Yeah, it's around 9:30.
And we got home at 10 o'clock. So we were only gone 12 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And we did 375 miles. And not that that's a great, but I mean, we also, a couple hours at the museum. It's just, I was surprised when I saw the summary that was 375 miles yesterday.
He was also smiling when he saw that his efficiency was 105%.
100.5%. So
oh, 100.5. Okay,
yeah.
excuse me. Decimal point makes all the difference.
Well, yeah, but I'm over 100.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know that was possible, but yeah. Yeah, you ought to do more drives down the mountain in your regular driving routine. It was very helpful.
That was it, yeah.
And when Don and I watched the video, we realized that we're good at counting. Basic counting. It was a little funny.
Yes, right.
The things that excite Tesla owners while they're supercharging 145. Yeah, in our next life, one of us is going to do auctions. Not. All right, Donnie. Well, I'll see you in a little while.
All righty. Yeah,
I fully support Don watching Jack, taking a nap, doing whatever he wants to do today, me running my errands. But Ruby's window is so dirty. I'm sure there's a bath coming in her future. But for now, that helped at least a little bit. I've got right at 2 hours until Johnny's home. Not that I have to be back when he walks in the door, but I like to be back when he comes home. Let him know I missed him. Don did tell me next time you go to Walmart, I need another pair of 2.0 reading glasses. His glasses somehow broke while we were at the Andy Griffith Museum yesterday. He was able to still use them, but one of the sides is broken. So I might do that today, probably tomorrow though. I'm thinking I'm going to go for a ride to another Supercharger site that is under construction, just been permitted, just starting. That popped up this week that really surprised us. Gotta love a cruise down the turnpike on autopilot. Not too many other cars on the road. 82 out there today. It's pleasant. Supposed to crank up the heat tomorrow though. I'm getting off here at 66B. How well will she handle this? I'd probably start slowing up, Ruby. It says it's 25 mile an hour. I jerked the wheel. Yepper. That is a pretty abrupt 70 to 25 there, let me tell you. I guess I'm doing about 30 on it, but. So we're gonna turn into the Supercharger up here at this stoplight. Parkside Town Commons. Got a green arrow. Right away I see there's a Hobby Lobby in here. I had no idea we had a Hobby Lobby. And then it's telling me to go to the left. But I think where I want to go to, because I just put in the name of the shopping center, is actually over here to the right. So if you were coming in off of 540, it's pretty pain-free to get back here to the area where the Target and the Harris Teeter are. Very uncomplicated on the way in. It's all right turns. So you can make a right turn on red if you need to. So there's a lot of stuff over here. We'll talk more about that in a minute. It's kind of, you know, one of the strip malls, and it's got several anchor stores. So you'll notice the drive-through here for Harris Teeter. And here's the area where the new Cary, almost RTP, supercharger is going in. Besides being super close to Target and Harris Teeter and a lot of other shopping, this particular location also has going for it that this space where the supercharger is way out of the way. See, back here behind me is a main thoroughfare, but there's no real reason anyone would pretty much ever want to park in here. And same thing with the other direction. Mattress Firm on the other side of that's the Harris Teeter. This road to my right here just goes back down behind Harris Teeter for deliveries. So this little stretch right in here, you know, there's really not anybody going to be in here. So everyone local already knows about this. It popped up out of nowhere on supercharge.info. It was a total surprise. We were not expecting this, and several other people have already been over here and taken video and made commentary. But for those of you that don't live locally, I've been sharing a message in the last week or so that you know, we've had a lot of new superchargers going in here in North Carolina. We had Kill Devil Hills, Mount Airy, Henderson has opened, Smithfield is close. This one over here in Cary, I'm probably leaving one out too. We just have had them popping up, really filling in all the gaps around the state. So it's really exciting time, I think. I think Elon has done what he said he would do. You know, we got more Model 3 drivers out there. Now we got more superchargers. Although, you know, charge at home when you can, off-peak when you can, supercharger when you travel, or if you don't have a facility for easy charging where you live. Like I said, back over there, that short beige wall is the Harris Teeter building where their drive-through goes. There's a massive Moore shopping center, straight line from the what direction the camera's pointed. We'll drive over there in a minute. Then this little compact area over here, which is really secluded. I couldn't have picked a better supercharger parking situation if I'd tried. So what's going on here as well, we've got the transformer, we've got 6 cabinets, we've got 12 pedestals, 11 in front of me here in a line and 1 off to my right. Now, so, you know, yesterday in Mount Airy, they had one pull in there of the 8. But there was no way you could pull into that pull-in with a trailer because it would have been out in heavy traffic. And that Sheetz was really busy and people weren't necessarily thrilled that the supercharger was there. Just going on the fact that there were people parked in the spots for hours that didn't seem to care, didn't seem to think the chargers were important. At least that's how it came across to us. And you know, you couldn't use that pull in there other than just as, you know, Ruby could have pulled into that spot if it had been empty. There was a ice car in it, but she couldn't have had one on over there. I don't see this spot getting iced. And people were asking V2, V3, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think because someone said, not me, that because there are 6 cabinets and 12 pedestals, that that implies this is a version 2 supercharger, which is plenty fast. So yeah, that's what's going on over here in Cary. I'll throw up a map, explain where it is. It's kind of convenient to the airport. It's convenient to RTP, although, you know, if you were working over there at IBM, you sure wouldn't want to have to come over here to charge. Oh, goodness. Yeah. That's the dirtiest the front of Ruby has ever looked. I'm sure Don will handle it. Have no doubt. Let's take a look at the map for a minute. Here's Highway 55. See, 55. And Fuquay is down here off the bottom of the map. Okay. Here's I-40 cutting through central North Carolina. So basically coming in from Greensboro, heading through Research Triangle Park, headed toward Raleigh, and then off to the beach over here to the east. And here's where 147 and 40 meet, and 147 takes you up to Durham. Okay. And, you know, you just, streets of South Point Mall is, this is Fayetteville Road. So that's right here. So folks were sort of wondering, well, it's really not super convenient to 40. You'd have to get off at 55 and come down through some stoplights, or you'd have to get on 540 and pay the toll to come over to this location. Or I guess maybe 751, and then this O'Kelly Chapel Road would bring you in on 42. I can see if you're coming from the west, you might choose that route, but it's not convenient, not super convenient to 40. I'll figure out on 55 what the mileage is there, but you got to add in stoplights. And like I said, it's close to Research Triangle Park, but not really close enough to work there and charge per se. I suppose maybe on the way home a couple times a week. Here's the airport. So if we move this over, you can see where 40 hits the belt line, the loop that goes around Raleigh, with, you know, Raleigh being in the center of that loop, and the North Hills charger. So I guess also, you know, if you kind of want to look at it this way, North Hills, where we've always been charging it when we need to, emergencies, meetups, that kind of thing, is not super far from here. Folks were really kind of hoping for Cary Crossroads at one point before they put in North Hills, which is at 40 and US 1 and 64, so over in here. And or over here at the streets of South Point, which is this Fayetteville Road, I-40 area. So, but we got this one. And like I said, it's a really nice location. It's easy to get into, and I don't think we have to worry about being iced over here or people thinking badly of us because the chargers are taking up their spaces. But it's just not exactly still a pass through the middle of the state. You're on a trip and you just, you know, want a quick juice and go. You're going to have to, you know, make a little effort to come off 40 to come down to this charger. So, but we appreciate every new supercharger they put in. So to get up here to Parkside Town Commons from our house, it's 32 minutes and 25 miles. So it's not super close. Although out here, I mean, anything under 30 minutes is close to us. I guess if you live in New York City, and you know, that seems like really far, but for here it's not too far. Anything over an hour or 45 minutes is sort of starting to get far. And then 36 minutes or 29 miles up to North Hills. Of course, you know, Google Maps is calculating on a Sunday afternoon what it would be. I'm sure, strictly speaking, during rush hour, coming up the turnpike to this one would probably be faster. But, you know, non-rush hour, North Hills and here is sort of a wash. And of course, when I'm already at the school and I need an emergency charge, then North Hills is way more convenient for us. You know, the rest of the car is not that dirty, really, in comparison to the front. I moved, and I'm gonna go walk around in the Target for a minute before I head back to Fuquay. I don't have a lot of time now. It's about 4:10. I looked. They don't. I found Donna's glasses. So Mattress Firm would be the closest business to the Supercharger. That's a little funny. Maybe they'll sell ones that'll inflate and you can put in the back of your Tesla for camping. So there's a Harris Teeter. And then over on this side, there's a Courtyard by Marriott Hotel, a Golf Galaxy. I told you Hobby Lobby. There's actually a standalone Starbucks, as well as there being a Starbucks in the Target, the Chick-fil-A. Did I say that already? Definitely want to mention Chick-fil-A. Panera Bread. So there's, you know, a lot of stuff over here. If you need to get, you know, your cell phone handled, fixed while you're here, there's a Verizon. Tex-Mex Chevys. God, I haven't seen one of them in forever. Johnny's actually home already. He got home a few minutes early and I'm running a few minutes late, but that's okay. I've got a Matchbox car in the back I think he'll enjoy. So I'm sure he'll be happy to come out and give me a hand in with my purchases, which was just a few more things than the glasses. I figured Johnny would beat me out here. Hey, buddy. There are a few things in the back that need to be carried in. How are you?
Okay, I saw my treats.
Oh, the candy from the store? Yeah, just a couple dollars worth. What, did I do good?
Yes.
Okay, phew. I was like, I thought so. I really took my time picking it out. I think Johnny will like that one. I think Johnny will like that one. Okay, cool. Tuxie, hi buddy. How are ya? Meow. How are you? Johnny says he was out here giving you attention. Hey, bud. My goodness. My goodness. Did we interrupt your belly rub? Hey, buddy. That's a good Tuxie. And then, of course, there's Mittens. Hi, Mittens. Hey, Donnie.
Hey, pretty girl. So watch Jack.
Yes.
And Jack is doing, you know, he's doing us all a favor. He's investigated some things, and he has given his commentary on them. He's very positive on that new UL 1741-2 specification for grid-tied inverters. You know,
UL as in Underwriter Laboratories?
Right. Basically, a long time ago, 1772 came out, or 1741 came out, and it had to do with basically fundamentally something called islanding, anti-islanding. In other words, whenever the grid goes down, they want your solar inverters to shut down and not produce electricity, on the premise that if your inverters continue to produce electricity, some poor lineman somewhere might get electrocuted. Of course, total myth, but let's not get into that. Let's just say, okay. Well, they've now modified that with a -2 or phase 2 in California that basically allows the inverters to vary their output based on the grid power line frequency. As the frequency goes up, the inverter power will decrease. Okay, there's a range from 60.25 to 61.5. Basically, this range, when the grid, the frequency of the power grid varies in that range, the output of your solar grid-tied inverter will decrease. As the frequency gets higher, the output of your inverters decrease. Okay. And that means the load out there should pull the grid down and cause the frequency to decrease, which should cause your inverters to put out more power, which should try to increase the frequency. So basically, with this -2 specification, sorta the grid, solar power grid, could sorta load balance by the grid shifting its frequency as solar kicks in. Of course, if there's no sun, no solar, your inverters aren't putting out, it's not going to do anything. But in the event that everything's like right now, June, if output's way high, they got too much electricity. They can't use it all. And what happens, of course, it sounds really good. And Jack's actually pretty positive with that until you step back and think about it. As grid-tied inverters, they produce more, and the excess electricity that they produce, you quote unquote with net metering sell to the grid, and you get pennies for that electricity. Well, now basically your investment they don't want your electricity. They've got a way now that they can turn your production down. Therefore, the amount of money you're going to make off of net metering is going to go down. But remember, your investment, your $30,000, $40,000, $50 investment doesn't go down. You put the money in with the anticipation of making so much money, but now you can't make that money. They're going to turn that knob down. And so your power output, you put a 30 kilowatt system in, well, maybe it's only going to put out peaks every day, maybe only 3 kilowatts because they don't need it. And now because there's so many systems, so basically it's stranding your assets, which the power company is doing double backflips for, because that's production that they didn't have to buy. You bought that production. Now they don't have to use it. They can turn it down and they can balance their grid. So they don't have to buy batteries now. Or they don't have to buy as many batteries. Let's be careful.
So this thing, you started out saying a safety something, but then you turned it into...
Well, it's a second version, a -2 version of this thing. It went into effect in California in February. All these new grid-tied inverters have to follow this new protocol. And even if you have an old inverter, that doesn't mean anything, because both inverters now are tied to the internet, and they can just download firmware and update the firmware. And so your old inverter is going to start doing this too. So so it's a software protocol versus a true hardware protocol. All these things are software controlled. Sure. Anyway, I didn't mean to get so long-winded. Anyway, Jack was saying this is a good thing for us. Forget the grid. Now he has a way to control the output of his solar panels so that when he wants more electricity, he can get more or less, so he doesn't overcharge his battery. So the problem he was having is that at some point your battery, your power walls fill up. What do you do with that excess electricity? Well, he was just simply turning off his solar generator. Inverters, just turning them off and running off his battery. Well, now using this protocol that the UL conveniently has started putting all these inverters, caused to be put in inverters, he can now shift the frequency and he can dial down and not overcharge his battery. So it's a good thing actually, but they're not doing it for your benefit. They're doing it for the utility's benefit. And of course, I love this point. He said, their reasoning is they're cutting off people's power in California right now because it could start a fire. So I'm going to black you out. You're going to cut off your power right when you're a grid-tied solar household producing plenty of electricity they don't want. So now they can black it. If they can't dial it down enough, they can black you out, because if they took your electricity, it could start a fire. And we all don't want fires. That's bad. So we'll just black you out. So now you're really screwed. You have solar panels and you can't use the electricity. You're dead in the water. So anyway, he was in fine form today. And the long story short, he told a story of a small marina in California last week that was basically they blacked out his power. Well, the problem with the marina operator, he has peak season. He doesn't care about losing power in December.
Right.
He doesn't care. But when all these people wanting to rent boats and fill up their boats and buy Funyuns at his snack bar and all that stuff, he's got no power. He can't sell them anything. So he's out of business. And that's when so they only cut the power when it is an advantage to the utility. And they don't have to compensate people in any way. So, you know, I'm with him on it. I think this little regulation that they put in for their benefit in the right hands can be used to our benefit, and it can help us become more grid independent. If you give up on net metering, you have to give up on net metering. In other words, if you think you're going to put solar panels on your roof and you're going to use your electricity and then you're going to sell and make money selling electricity to the grid whenever you make more than you use, you just got to forget about that $20 a month they're going to send you. Just give it to them, and you just try to use every drop of your electricity and
Yourself.
Of course, selfish solar. And by doing that, that means you have to have batteries. Now, of course, Tesla Powerwalls, and I'm sure other vendors' batteries, they all have things to help you do this. But in Jack's case, he's trying to build the components that you need to do batteries yourself using recycled electric car batteries. So you need to have these controls. So he's going to hopefully come out with additional hardware and software that now make use of these new 1741-2 specifications, so that you don't overcharge your batteries, because you don't want to overcharge your batteries. You know, it's really only a problem right now. It isn't you're not going to ever overcharge your batteries probably in December unless you're on vacation and you don't stop using electricity. The sun doesn't shine enough in December probably that you might get lucky, but you're probably going to want to buy electricity in the winter. This is part of the problem with solar, one of the problems. But right now in June, in lots of places, you're making more electricity from your panels than you're using in your home. So you're exporting it to the grid. And that causes the grid problems, because about the time everybody comes home from work, the sun goes down, the solar output drops, the demand goes up, and the rate it goes up is so fast the grid companies have problems responding. And so now they've got this additional lever. They can dial your inverters. They can start bringing their resources online, turn down your resources, and handle the very fast ramp up to peak demand.
Well, as with most things, it sounds like there's pros and cons to it. There's ways a utility company could use it that wouldn't be too much of a deterrent, and we could see the rationale behind how they would manage things. And then there's other things they could do that are actually sort of bad for the homeowner.
Right.
So I guess it just all depends on what they do with the quote-unquote power to dial you down.
This is not, let's stab the utilities and our neighbors and our other people who don't have solar. This is not about that. This is about who has control of the energy in my home that I use. What is it to the power company if I want to put panels on my roof, take that electricity and put it in my battery and use that in my home? What business is it to that? I don't want to put any of it on the grid. So
right, well, you know the answer to that.
Well, I know, but the point is, they're charging a flat rate fee. They're charging us like $17 a month if we don't use any electricity whatsoever. They're going to charge us $17 a month. That basic service is just to have a connection to them. I realize they've got investment and stuff, but
right, I was going to say, it's just like EVs and who pays the road tax to upkeep the roads. It's the exact same issue all over again.
Well, the point is, we need to encourage more distributed. As Jack said, in like 1981, there were 5 power outages over 1 hour in the whole country. Couldn't believe this. He said last year there were 350 power outages over 1 hour in the country. The number of our reliability of our power grid is getting worse, which of course we can attest to.
Right.
Our power goes out.
Been stable here the past little bit, but then before that it was really bad for a while. But then of course they're putting those
Right, they're
fancy, tell me the word,
reclosers
on the line, and when they were doing that and they were doing it near us, they were bumping our power a lot without warning. I might add that they were even beginning work in the area.
You know, it's a valid thing. Look, I'm not anti-grid, but the fact that they would like to charge me absorbent amounts of money to not, if I want to produce electricity, I have to pay them a premium. You know, I think that's unfair. I think that it's fair to say I got to pay some, but because I don't use the capacity that they've created, installed, I have to pay for that anyway. That's their business problem, not mine. I've invested in my solar panels to produce electricity so my power bill can go to as low as 0, and that's good enough. You don't have to send me money. You can just if I do things to get my power bill to go to 0 most of the year, that's good. That's all I'm shooting for. And the fact that you're paying me $20 a month just to maintain the connection, that's all right too. I'll do that. But then when you start charging me, as he showed in an example in New Mexico, the proposal is somebody with a 10 kilowatt system is going to pay like $86 a month. That's their starting fee to have generate 10 kilowatts of electricity. So the minimum power bill for somebody is going to be $86 a month just so they can have solar panels on their roof. Well, how is that going to? And the reason is, well, you might need 10 kilowatts of electricity from us sometimes, since your panels don't produce all the time, so you've got to pay us now. It's complicated. It was a good thing.
Got your glasses.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yeah, I broke
from Target. Yeah, I told him you broke
my glasses yesterday.
Yep. So.
Oh goodness! Well, I bet these are the expensive ones. $5?
They were a little bit.
Holy crap! These
just take good care of
the bags.
Take good care of them. Take good care of them.
I'll try. Thank you, sweetheart.
Well, I got home and Don basically said, "Did you pull Ruby in the garage?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "Well, I want to wash Ruby, so I'm going to go pull her back out." And I said, "I will not stop you from washing her because, yeah, she's got some bugs on her." So instead of running today, because Don doesn't normally run on Sunday, he's washing Ruby for us. Thank you, Donnie. I've browned these chicken thighs in the cast iron skillet, and now I'm gonna put them in the oven to finish cooking. Don says he's done for tonight. He'll do the tires and all of the black on the car tomorrow. But look at that hood and that front grill area. It's all clean again. Really appreciate that Donnie did that for me. He would have done it sooner, except for, you know me, I'm always wanting to take off with the car.